Okay, now we are going to learn about classes. Yes, a class is a user-defined data type that we can use in our program, and it works as an object constructor or a blueprint for printing objects. Yes, so you can use a class to output details of people over and over instead of maybe inputting the person details over and over using CRT. You can also use an object to get the person's details actually and then output it. So to cle- so attributes and members are basically variables and functions that belongs to the class. So indirectly they are just the members of that class, yes, which we are going to access for our various um maybe a user or employee. You can't be inputting the details of the employee over and over, so you can use a class to store maybe their names or details that I want to output. Then you just as a blueprint, then you just be referencing it and printing out the details over and over again. So um, to define a class, you start with the keyword class and then followed by the class name which you want to give. I want to do for a bank account. Yes. So a bank account, in a bank account you have your username and your balance. And your name is in a string. So there are different um, access specifiers in mm, the classes. You have public, you have private, you have protected. So when you use the public, the members become accessible anywhere in the code, even outside the class. But with the private, it can only be used in the class. Yes, so this is an example of a public class here actually. So let me uncomment. Okay, and then other comment the private. Okay, let's just keep it like that. Okay. So with this side, and with the public, which we've named as the bank account, we have string name, the string which is the data type, and then the name here, and then int which is balance. You know, if you want to output the name of every user in the bank and their balance, to be tedious using cout over and over and over again. Yes. So here you will do so here this is how you define the class. Then the void amount, the withdrawal that the person did and stuff. So this line can also be rewritten as the let me see. So you can also rewrite this as balance should be equal to balance minus amount. This one is the same as this. This line is the same as this line. This is just kind of a shorthand to it. Since the balance is already here, we just it's like repeated. So to do the calculation and store it inside the balance. Yes. These are codes that I wrote when I was actually practicing myself, so don't worry. So to actually access this bank account, maybe the user whose details we want to input or do it, maybe let's say the user's name is Hubert, and then the balance is in his account is 500. So this or dollars, I don't know, there's no currency at that. So let's say 500. So with this one, if you want to output, so this is how you access the class in a public class, a public member in a class. Outside of it, inside the int main. So you do mm, so with that you write the name of the class first. The name of the class will come inside the int main function. The name of the class will come to the bank account. Then the name associated the account. So let's say account one. So we have account one dot the name of the user. So with that name dot the name of the user, and that name should be equal to Hubert, which is the name of the user, and then account dot balance, which is equal to 500. So that balance is referring to this balance here, should be equal to this one. So we've accessed maybe let's say we've created details for an account, a first account. Maybe for the first account, these are the details of the user in the account. So we want to output the values of this. We want to output the value of this mm, of these values here. So do C out as normal as usual. Then account name. Then say Hubert has. Then account balance. See this in his account. So right now with the withdrawal is a function, and then the parameter here is amount. So in here we are going to define the amount that he withdrew. So I withdrew 100 cedis from my account. So it's going to subtract that amount from my balance, which is 500. So it will be level 400 actually. So if you output this code, that's what you actually get to get. So that's how you access it. And with the private, you can only access the private. Okay. You can only access um, the private inside of the string, inside of the class. You cannot use it outside of the class. So as you send here, class, employee, and then the employee details is private, maybe the name, the company, and the age is private. So you can only access it here inside the class. But here lies the case you want to access it outside of the class. So for us to be able to access it, we define a public class here, and then we create a string here, its name, the string, and then assign the name here. We say it creates a function and with this parameter, which is string and name, and that name is being assigned to the name of the user over here. So in this case, even though, okay, in this case it is in the same class, but it has been made public here, but it has been stored in this variable name. And then the company too, the same thing. So we have another function here to get the name, and then this is a function also for the company. Since the company here is private, inside this public it becomes public and accessible outside. And then get company is a function that we use to get it, like when we want to call it outside, when we want to call the function outside, just like the way we call out the withdrawal amount over here for to calculate my main balance after the withdrawal. This is how you do with it. So the same thing is being done to the age, and then it's being stored in the variable age. And variables are case sensitive, so we can so age with capital A is different from age with small a. So you just store it in there, and then you use um you use the get age function to return the age over here. So so we are now going to create a void function to introduce ourselves, the user, the employee. So these values, the age here, and then the name, company, age, have been outputted here for us to introduce our employee. So we create yet um, another function. No, we overload it here. So we create another function on function overload here to access to also assign that name to a variable for it to be accessed over here. So right now, with this function overload, when you want to access the first employee, the employee, let's say, is equal to the employee1 equals this function overload over here. So the string is name, the name is a string, so it will pick the Hubert and assign it to the name, pick the company name, which is code, and attach it to this one, and pick the age, which is 34, and assign it to it. Yes, then you can access it one by one, anyhow you want to do it. You can assign it to it by yourself, or you can just simply call out this the function overload over here. You can just call it and then just do employee one dot introduce yourself. So this information that you've inputted over here will go in here, and then when you introduce yourself it will come line by line as the name dash then the company name. Let's try and run it and see. So this is the name Hubert, company name, company's code, then this the second one. It's because I repeated it over here. So it's the same output that to give intro it will give you for you to introduce yourself, to introduce your employee. So that's how we define a class, and then that's how the private and then the public access definitions in classes made. Thank you.